this question can only be asked in Africa, not in any other region of this world. Aid is more political than anything else. For me, when I'm watching on television and I find our leaders who should have been working together all along to address these problems that commonly affect their countries, wait until they are invited to go to Europe to sit there and just... In fact, the image it gives is that we are not there to even address these problems. We are there for a photo opportunity. We are happy to sit there in Paris with the President of France and just talk about addressing problems.
Are fully aware of the enemies to Africa's development, and yet somehow they're incapable of addressing them. We know when it comes to West Africa, the document that African countries were meant to sign as they attained their quote-unquote independence, the document that's labeled the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization. On one hand, we are giving you your independence, but on the other hand, we want you to sign this document, agreeing to continue to be colonized. And if you choose not to sign this document, in my pocket, I have a gun that has your name. So it is that Guinea and Mali, they chose not to sign the document. History tells us that France moved into those countries, poured concrete into the sewage pipes, destroyed schools, hospitals, roads. Anything that could be destroyed, they destroyed. Anything that they could pick up and take back with them to France, they took. According to President Mugabe, they even took the last pencil.
In a historic turning point few saw coming, President Ibrahim Traoré's revolution is no longer confined to Burkina Faso's borders. What began as a defiant stand for independence and self-reliance has ignited a wave of Pan-African solidarity spreading across West and Central Africa. Today, Rwanda's Paul Kagame, the visionary leader behind one of Africa's most dynamic economies, has stepped forward. Alongside him stands Dr. Arikana Chihombori-Quao, a respected Pan-African diplomat and advocate. Their message is clear. Africa is ready to reclaim its destiny. This moment is bigger than politics. It's a cultural and economic awakening. For decades, nations like Ghana, Mali, and Niger have struggled under the weight of foreign influence, structural adjustment loans, and exploitative trade deals. But today, they are choosing a different path. By aligning themselves with Traoré's bold agenda, centered on nationalizing resources, building local infrastructure, and uniting African economies, these countries are signaling a seismic shift in African leadership. This is not about isolation. This is about sovereignty, ownership, and a renewed sense of African pride. Observers are already calling it the new Pan-African bloc. Imagine it. Ghana, long celebrated for its stability and democratic tradition, now taking steps to review foreign mining contracts. Mali and Niger, two nations often underestimated by the West, rejecting imposed models and looking to regional cooperation instead. And Rwanda, a country that has rebuilt itself through determination and homegrown solutions, pledging support for African-led development. Together, these nations are creating a powerful statement. Africa can chart its own course without permission or dependency. But what are the risks and what could be gained? Analysts warn that challenging entrenched foreign interests could bring economic retaliation or diplomatic pressure. Yet, the potential rewards are historic. Control over mineral wealth, gold, uranium, oil could fund roads, schools, and hospitals without IMF loans. Regional trade pacts could finally unlock trillions in intra-African commerce, turning the continent into a self-sustaining engine of growth. For millions of young Africans, this revolution offers something rare. Hope that prosperity doesn't have to come with strings attached. Across social media, the reaction has been explosive. Hashtags like #AfricaRising, #Traoré Revolution, and #Pan-African Unity are trending. Videos of crowds in Ouagadougou, Accra, Bamako, and Kigali waving their flags in solidarity have gone viral, inspiring debates from Johannesburg to London. Critics accuse these leaders of reckless populism. Supporters call it the birth of true independence. Whatever side you're on, one thing is undeniable: this is the most significant Pan-African movement in a generation. As this alliance takes shape, questions loom. Will other countries join this new coalition? Could we see the emergence of an African central bank, or even a shared currency to rival the CFA franc? And how will powerful interests, especially in Europe and the United States, respond as African nations assert control over their futures? For now, these leaders remain unwavering. Traoré's vision is no longer an isolated experiment. It's a spark that is catching fire across the continent. If you believe Africa deserves to tell its own story, without filters, without fear, subscribe now and turn on notifications. Because this is only the beginning. The revolution is spreading, and the world is finally paying attention.
Welcome to African Diary 24, the channel where Africa speaks for itself. From powerful stories and rich cultures to political realities and grassroots movements, we bring you content that informs, inspires, and challenges the narrative. Whether you're here to learn, connect, or explore, you're in the right place. This is Africa, unfiltered, unapologetic, and rising. Hit that subscribe button and become part of the journey. Disclaimer: the content featured on African Diary 24 is for informational, educational, and documentary purposes only. We aim to represent stories with accuracy and integrity, but the views expressed in interviews or commentary do not necessarily reflect those of the channel. We do not promote hate, violence, or political bias. Viewer discretion is advised, especially for sensitive topics. Always do your own research and think critically.
To the corridors of power in Kigali, a revolutionary wave is sweeping across Africa. A wave ignited by one man, a 34-year-old military officer named Ibrahim Traoré. This isn't just a story about Burkina Faso or West Africa. It's a tale that resonates across the continent. It's a testament to the yearning for change, for self-determination, and most importantly, for freedom. Ibrahim Traoré has emerged as a beacon of this change, challenging the status quo and inspiring a new narrative for Africa. His journey is one of courage, conviction, and an unwavering commitment to his people. Join us as we delve into the story of the young revolutionary reshaping West Africa's future. But before we continue, please don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any updates. Also, like this video if you enjoy it and share it with your friends, because this content makes it possible for more people to be informed about what's going on around the world. Finally, turn on notifications so you won't miss out on anything. Now let's get started. In October of 2022, Paul Kagame spoke at the 26th African Union Summit held in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. His words, though brief, carried the weight of 1,000 battle cries. We must put our countries and our continent back in the hands of Africans, he stated unequivocally. Africa is ours. Its wealth belongs to Africans. It is time to work for our liberation. These weren't mere words. They were a clarion call to action, a rallying cry for a new Africa, an Africa free from external control, free to chart its own course and determine its own future. It's no secret that Africa, despite being rich in resources and brimming with potential, has long been a continent exploited and manipulated by external powers. Kagame's statement was a direct challenge to this exploitative status quo. He wasn't just speaking for Rwanda, he was echoing the sentiments of millions across the continent who yearn for true independence, not just political, but economic and social as well. In a continent where the youth bulge represents both a challenge and an opportunity, Kagame's message resonated deeply. He was advocating for an Africa where the youth are not just consumers of the future, but the shapers of it, where their energy, their ideas, and their talents are harnessed for the continent's growth and development. This clarion call was not made in a vacuum. It had echoes of the French Revolution, the American Revolution, and the Russian Revolution. It harkened back to a time when ordinary citizens dared to challenge the established order, demanding not just representation, but true participation in shaping their societies. It's in this context that the story of Ibrahim Traoré becomes even more compelling. A young, unassuming soldier who dared to dream of a better Burkina Faso, a soldier who saw the discontent simmering among the populace and channeled it into a movement for change. On September 30, 2022, a date that will forever be etched in the annals of Burkina Faso's history, Ibrahim Traoré and his fellow patriots executed a coup d'etat. It wasn't just a military takeover. It was a popular uprising backed by the very people whose grievances had been ignored for far too long. Traoré's rise to power wasn't a sudden eruption. It was the culmination of years of simmering discontent, a powder keg of societal issues just waiting for a spark. He provided that spark. Born in 1988 in the small town of Kambiseri, central Burkina Faso, Traoré's journey to the pinnacle of power was paved with dedication and a deep sense of duty. He attended the prestigious military academy of Ghana in Accra, returning to Burkina Faso in 2012 as the commissioned officer. Unlike many of his peers, Traoré wasn't content with the conventional military life. He yearned for more, driven by an insatiable desire to serve his nation in an even greater capacity. His chance came sooner than he expected. In January 2022, Burkina Faso found itself at a crossroads. A series of protests against the government of President Paul-Henri Damiba had escalated, leading to growing instability and uncertainty about the country's future. It was a moment of crisis, a test of leadership and patriotism. Seizing the moment, Traoré stepped forward. He didn't hesitate. He led a group of soldiers in a daring move, ousting Damiba and assuming the role of transitional leader. For many, this would have been the pinnacle of ambition, but Traoré's journey was far from over. He faced numerous challenges, including threats from various factions and the daunting task of stabilizing a country on the brink of chaos. Yet Traoré stood firm, guided by his principles and a clear vision for the nation. He navigated these challenges with a mix of charisma, determination, and an uncanny ability to connect with the people. Under his leadership, Burkina Faso began to heal. The streets of Ouagadougou, once tense with protest, now echoed with hope. The country was on the path to recovery, all thanks to the bold steps taken by a young, unassuming leader. However, the true measure of a great leader lies not in the position of power, but in the positive impact they have on the lives of their people. And in this regard, Traoré has more than delivered. Since assuming power, he has embarked on a series of reforms aimed at addressing the root causes of the instability that plagued the nation. He has tackled issues such as corruption, human rights abuses, and the lack of economic opportunities, which have long been the bane of Burkina Faso's existence. One of Traoré's most significant contributions has been in the area of security. Upon assuming office, he inherited a country grappling with two major security challenges: the activities of jihadist groups in the north and the threat posed by criminal gangs in the south. These issues not only threatened the country's stability, but also the safety and well-being of its citizens. However, instead of being daunted by these challenges, Traoré took decisive action. He reorganized the country's security forces, focusing on intelligence gathering and community policing. This shift in strategy proved highly effective in countering the jihadist threat, leading to a significant decrease in attacks and a restoration of peace in many parts of the country. Furthermore, Traoré didn't stop at addressing immediate security concerns. He also took proactive steps to tackle the underlying issues that had allowed extremist groups to gain a foothold in the first place. This included investing in education, healthcare, and infrastructure in marginalized communities, which had long been neglected and had become breeding grounds for extremism. These efforts have not only restored security, but also ignited hope for a brighter future in Burkina Faso. The people, who once lived in fear, now feel safer and more optimistic about their country's trajectory. Yet Traoré's impact extends far beyond security. He has also made significant strides in promoting good governance and tackling corruption, which have been deeply ingrained in Burkinabe society and institutions. Upon assuming power, he immediately initiated reforms aimed at promoting transparency and accountability in government. He introduced measures to streamline bureaucratic processes, reduce waste, and ensure that public funds are used for their intended purposes. Additionally, he has taken steps to strengthen the rule of law and uphold human rights, which were severely curtailed under previous regimes. These reforms have been met with mixed reactions. While some have praised them as necessary steps towards democracy and good governance, others have criticized them as attempts to consolidate power. However, it is too early to make a definitive judgment. Only time will tell whether these reforms will lead to meaningful change or remain as mere symbolic gestures. Nevertheless, one thing is clear. Ibrahim Traoré has emerged as a symbol of hope for a nation that has long suffered under the weight of bad governance and insecurity. Despite the challenges and controversies, one thing is certain. Ibrahim Traoré has changed the narrative for Burkina Faso and by extension, West Africa. He has shown that it is possible to challenge the status quo and fight for a better future. As the revolutionary wave he ignited continues to spread, it is clear that Traoré's impact will be felt far beyond the borders of Burkina Faso. His story is a beacon of hope for many, a testament to the power of courage and conviction. The next chapter of West Africa's history is being written, and Ibrahim Traoré is leading the way. Whether the final product will be a masterpiece or a tragedy remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, the ink of change has been spilled and there's no going back. In conclusion, Ibrahim Traoré is not just a military officer or a politician. He is a symbol of the aspirations of millions of Africans who yearn for a better future. He embodies the spirit of revolution, the pursuit of justice, and the unquenchable thirst for freedom. As the story of this remarkable leader continues to unfold, one thing is evident. The revolutionary wave he has unleashed will undoubtedly shape the future of West Africa and inspire generations to come. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please don't forget to leave a comment down below with your thoughts, suggestions, or any other relevant information. Also, if you're interested in other similar topics, check out our other videos and subscribe so you won't miss any updates.